So 2018's Thanksgiving holiday is now ancient history in the books, as they say. I hope you had a great Turkey Day as we usher in the holiday season. And I wish you, whatever you celebrate, a happy holidays. How about that? 2018 almost over. New Year's Eve on deck. You know what else is on deck? The baseball winter meetings, where the New York Yankees seem to make headlines just about every year. Around the winter meetings last year, they made the trade for Giancarlo Stanton with the Miami Marlins. We'll see if the Bronx Bombers make headlines and a splash this year in Sin City. They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That ain't going to happen with the MLB winter meetings. I'll bet you that. Anyway, I'm Matt Levine, and I welcome you into my Yankees Hot Stove Report. This is report number 2. Thank you so much for being part of it. I want to thank Daver Ban for his commentary on my YouTube page and for being a friend of the Yankees Hot Stove Report and for supporting my channel. Thanks for being part of it, and thank you for your commentary. I appreciate it. I'd ask you guys to please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Okay, let's talk about those New York Yankees and some of the moves they've made since we last spoke. For one, CC Sabathia is coming back for season number 11, probably his last. CC expected to retire and hang up the cleats after the 2019 campaign. In 18, CC still an integral part, when healthy, of the pitching staff, 9-7, couple stints on the disabled list. We know CC can still be an effective pitcher, and when called on and counted on, he comes through almost all the time in the clutch for the Yankees, and his presence as a savvy, cagey veteran, kind of like an extra coach or manager in the locker room. So I, for one, happy to see the big guy come back in pinstripes for one more hurrah. The Yankees also loading up on another southpaw, James Paxton. You ever heard of him? Well, I'm going to tell you about him. They call him the Big Maple. How about it? Why? 6'4", about 230 pounds, hails from British Columbia, Canada. He's been in the big since 2013, all with the Seattle Mariners, who drafted him in 2010. The kid comes out of the University of Kentucky. Sharp cookie. Not a bad GPA, especially for a baseball player. That doesn't mean anything, right? I don't know. 3.3. Good enough for me, right? B's get degrees. A's even better. But he was a major in finance heading into his senior year. So he's a bright guy. He's got a big left arm. The one knock on him, and I'll tell you about his outstanding year in 2018, is he doesn't stay healthy. He's never had major injuries, but he's had an assortment of nagging injuries that have landed him on the DL 5 times in the last 3 years. He's never pitched more than 160 innings. It's just about what he threw last year for the M's. Now, last season, in stretches, completely dominant. Overall, a nice year, 11-7. To go along with a 3.74 ERA. On May 8th, became the second Canadian pitcher since Dick Fowler back in 1945 to throw a no-hitter. He pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates. How about that trivia? Meanwhile, the start before that one, the no-hitter, which, by the way, was on the home turf, more or less, in his homeland, I should say, in Toronto against the Jays. Start before it, he threw against the A's for a win, struck out 16 Oakland batters. So the Yankees are hoping to get big doses of dominance from the 30-year-old. Comes over to the Bronx Bombers for 3 blue-chip prospects, including one of them who I'm sure you know by this name, Justice Sheffield, ranked as high as one of the top 30 prospects in all of big league baseball, now takes his career and his act to the Pacific Northwest. Yankees should be making one more move to bolster that starting pitching staff. Names that I tossed around in my first Hot Stove report: Pat Corbin from the Arizona Diamondbacks, an upstate New York kid, had a nice year for the Diamondbacks last year, 11 wins, came back from Tommy John surgery. The reports are he wants big money. Who doesn't? That he wants to pitch for his home state team, and he's a Yankees fan. J.A. Happ. The Blue Jays might want him back. That's the word on the street, as well as the Philadelphia Phillies, whom he also wants to pitch for. I have a feeling the Yankees want him back as well. It'll be interesting to see what the Yankees do in that bullpen. David Robinson, Zach Britton, both free agents. A name that's being tossed around like Corbin, a New York kid, but he's a New York City kid. Adam Ottavino from the Colorado Rockies, where last year He was able to pitch to a miraculous. That's right, miraculous. I'm talking about Coors Field, folks. 2.44 ERA, outstanding. 112 strikeouts out of the bullpen in 77 innings, a Rockies record. Reports and the word on the street is he wants to come home. Possibly a replacement for D-Rob or Zach Britton. If both leave or one of them leaves, we'll see how that shakes out as we head into Las Vegas. A popular Yankee, Ronald Torreyes. I like the kid. Spunky, always fun to watch when they do the cutaway shots in the dugout. Always seem to really love baseball. Humble and talented. Back in 2017, not 4 scores and 7 years ago. It wasn't that far ago. It seems like it. He batted around 300, played in a little over 100 games, and was a super sub for the Yankees. Struggled with the injuries and some off-the-field issues last year. The Yankees have taken him off their major league roster. So he's no longer part of the Bronx Bombers, and the Yankees instead give his place to a kid that you may have heard of, Parker Bridwell. The name rang a bell for me because I was like, wasn't he pretty good a couple of years ago? He was. In 17, he was 10-3 for the Angels. Also has pitched in the bigs for the Baltimore Orioles. The problem last year, the right elbow, inflammation, kept him out all season. So the Yankees take a flyer on him, and you never have enough pitching. Torreyes is one of those guys, though, you hate to see go. Other news around the Yankees nation. Rumors about Robbie Cano. I can't believe, first off, that Cano is already 36. Talk about time flying by. He's a pretty old 36 who was suspended for half the year last year because of substances, banned substances. The deal is, the deal hasn't happened, but the deal that they're speaking about potentially, at least the Mariners, the Yankees spoke about, was taking on part of Jacoby Ellsworth's obscene contract and flopping it with the Yankees for Robbie Cano's obscene contract. I never understood the 10-year contracts. And that goes for Stanton, who I like. I feel like I'm on the minority about that, right? His 10-year contract's going to come back to bite the Yankees in the you-know-what, just like Cano's is biting the Seattle Mariners in the you-know-what. The problem is, though, that the Mariners want money in return with Ellsbury. So it's not a fair swap. I can't see, for the life of me, the Yankees taking Robbie Cano. For one thing I never liked about Robbie Cano, he never hustled. And it's an interesting fact about Manny Machado in this offseason. It's a very fine line there. There was some talk over the weekend that Hal Steinbrenner wants to have a sit-down with Machado. Meet him man-to-man, Fokker style, eye-to-eye, see what he's all about. Of course, Steinbrenner voiced his concern about Machado's basically saying that he doesn't hustle. What did he say? He's not Johnny Hustle? I always like Charlie Hustle in the Pete Rose reference. Pete Rose was Charlie Hustle. Say he's not Johnny Hustle, had some dirty plays on the field during the playoffs. Very questionable character. Slugger, good hitter, slick fielder. Could he do the job nicely, plugging in for Didi if need be? Or you stick him at third and maybe get rid of Andujar for a top-line pitcher? I don't know. It'll be very interesting to see. And you know what? I said in my Hot Stove Report number 1, I didn't think Bryce Harper or Machado would become Yankees. Now that I think about it, you just never know in Yankee land. Look at Stanton last year. I didn't think that was going to happen. You never know. Wouldn't it be interesting to see Bryce Harper actually at first base? I've kind of let that marinate and sit and think about it for a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if the Yankees do pull off the big splash, as some names are getting tossed back and forth. Lots of slots to fill. Of course, that shortstop, the void with DD, getting the Tommy John surgery. We'll see what the Yankees do to fill in for DD and if they make a trade. Speaking of Miguel Andujar, how the heck does he not win the American League Rookie of the Year? I know Shohei Ohtani of the Angels is a special player, a novelty player, but I'm not knocking him. I mean, the kid came over here from Japan and did everything until he got hurt. He had 22 homers, 285 average, 61 RBIs, 10 games he pitched in, went 4-2 with an ERA 3.31. But again, he was injured. Okay? Meanwhile, Andujar, 149 games, played just about the whole season, making history, breaking the record for the most doubles by a Yankee rookie set by Joe DiMaggio. His 76 extra base hits, only 12 other players in big league history had more as a rookie. He had a rookie record-setting season. The number's outstanding. Okay, again, the average, around 300. The home runs around 30. Around 100 RBI. How does he not get it? I'm not buying it. And Gleyber Torres, for that matter, with 431 at-bats, 24 home runs. I know he spent some time on the DL. 77 RBI, 273 average. He should have finished second. I'm not being biased. Well, maybe you say I am, but I just don't see how Andujar did not win the American League Rookie of the Year. Anyway, it should be interesting as, again, the baseball winter meetings will happen in Las Vegas on December 9th. I, for one, am looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to bringing you my next Yankees Hot Stove report in just a couple of weeks from now. I want to thank you so much for joining me, Matt Levine, and ask you again to please subscribe to my channel. Let's see what the Yankees do as we get ready for Las Vegas.